Hello and welcome along to the start of a brand new series from this official Snooker 19 game with me, Daniel. It's episode 1 of The Other O'Sullivan, and we're taking lowly ranked Sean O'Sullivan and trying to replicate his namesake Ronnie by reaching world number 1 and winning a career world title. Initially the gameplay's been brilliant so far, so hopefully that will continue in this one, but playing as a player that's not in the top end of the rankings is going to make things a little bit more difficult. So we're going to start with the rising stars. Here he is, Sean O'Sullivan, started on the pro circuit in 2012. He's not got any career highlights yet, not at the top end of snooker, but we're hoping to change that slowly but surely, although once you've seen me play this game for the first time, I'm sure you'll start to dampen your expectations. We're going to play on medium difficulty. We're sticking with pro initially. It's not gone too well in the early quick matches, but despite that we want to give it a realistic feel, and most players starting out on the circuit would really struggle against the top pros early on. So we're going to stick with this for now, just leave everything on medium and see how that works out for us. We're into the first new season, let's see what the career hub looks like. So the first event is the qualifying for the Riga Masters. Obviously all of the official events are on here as it's the licence game. We're going to have a look at the My Pro screen to see what it's like. We're ranked 128, bottom of the pile, so it's going to be a long way up and I'm sure it'll probably take a little while. Let's look at the schedule. There's plenty of events coming up. I'd assume we'll probably have to qualify for most of them, and we're probably not going to make it through the qualifiers, to be honest. Once we get through those, I'd imagine the top events we'll miss out on until we get to season 2 or 3 and start to improve ourselves. Moving on to the rankings, we're a rising star, we're starting right at the bottom, so we're going to have a long way up. We need to get some prize money on the board and move up the rankings. We'll look at the Hall of Fame later on, as we're certainly not going to be there for a while. It's just about reaching the top of the ranked events champions. I think Ronnie O'Sullivan's at the top. He's on 36 alongside Stephen Henry, so we're probably not going to achieve that, but if we could just get one, I'll be delighted. The trophy cabinet's empty. It'll remain that way for a while, you can trust me on that, but hopefully one day we'll be able to add to it. You're going to see a bit of struggle on this one. If you want to see someone who's brilliant at the game, I'm probably not your man, but we'll certainly have a bit of fun and we'll probably get to watch our opposition a lot. So if anything, you'll get a better insight into the game and the way the opposition and AI players play, because I'm not going to be at the table much, particularly early on in the career. I want to have a look at the My Pro screen a bit more, just to see if there was anything else we could do. We've got a customise button here, so I'm going to have a look at that. A classic queue, you've got options to change your shirt and waistcoat. We'll see what other ones are there for now. I don't think there's any at the moment. I presume that most of these options are unlockable depending on how well you do in your career. We've got a black tie and we haven't got an option to change that, so I think at the moment it's only the trousers and shoes, and for now we'll stick with grey as that's always the best colour and makes it look like a bit of a mismatch. So let's get back to the current event. We'll get into the first tournament and we'll be back in a second with the first frame, which we'll show you before finishing this episode. The career hub looks decent enough, fairly basic, but it does the job, and the gameplay's certainly going to be the most important part as the snooker experience needs to be immersive. The little bits that we've seen so far in quick matches has shown every bit of detail's been taken into consideration, everything down to the coughs and sniffles of the Crucible crowd. Hopefully we'll get to see that in the smaller tournaments too. I'm interested to see the detail levels there. So let's get into the first match. We're playing world number 2 Mark Selby. It couldn't get much harder at the start for that. We're going to try and show you the full frame, or the first one of the match anyway. We're certainly not going to win one. I can guarantee you a 2-0 defeat. But we are going to show you both sides of the table. So we'll show Mark Selby's break as well, just so you can see how the game should be played and a bit more of the gameplay. In future episodes we'll probably just show the action when we're at the table, so you can see how we're developing and how Sean O'Sullivan's career is coming along. Mark Selby with a pretty much flawless break as you'd expect, and we're going to really struggle to make something happen here. We've got to try and pick a safety shot. It's definitely been my area of weakness. With the pro guides you don't get a full indicator of where the ball's going, and I found it really hard to judge the power so far. Unfortunately we can't get to the red on the left side of the table, so we're going to have to try and get a thin edge on this one. I'm not sure it'll go too well, but there's only one way to find out. So we're going to go for about 45% power. It's really good controls, it's nice and easy to get it right, and that looks quite good for us actually, certainly better than we were doing earlier on. Just a little bit too hard as we've still come off the cushion, but we've covered the loose red, and that's the most important thing. So if we go down to 40% power next time, we should make progress in that sense, but a really good start, and I'm happy with that first shot. Obviously, one of the problems that has been announced with this game is that players do tend to roll up to safeties a lot, although that shot was pretty realistic, but it is something they're patching, so that should solve that problem quickly. We're back to the table again, and it looks like we're going to start with a safety exchange. We're just going to try and get the ball back up to bulk. Let's try and get a thin outside edge then, see where we can get the ball. We're just going to try and get in behind the brown there. I have no idea how to judge the power. I'm going to go for about 30%, although I think that might be too much as well. Let's go all the way down, in fact. We're going to go to 20 and see how that works. So let's just go for it. There's only one way to learn, and we'll make these mistakes in the early stages of our career. Here we go then, let's get it up to around 20%. We've slightly underhit it, but we've still got up and it's worked perfectly in the end. It's still a little bit too hard if anything. We probably could have gone down to 15. But we may have snookered him on all the reds here, so hopefully that'll bode well. He's having to come off a cushion. Will he make it? I'm sure he probably will. He clatters into the reds, but he's left us with half a chance here. The red's fallen tight to the cushion, but I think we can still get away with it. Let's turn it round then. We're going to try and do a thin cut with this red. One thing I do really like with this game is you don't just get a straight aiming guide. If it's a little bit of a loose pot or it's a really difficult one, you get this sort of cone, which you can see here. It doesn't give you an exact position the ball's going to go. It just gives you a rough estimate, and that makes it a little bit harder, which I think is probably a good thing. So let's try and get this ball into the pocket. The chances of us getting back on a colour are negligible, but as long as we can get the ball in, we can play a safety shot if need be. So we're going to take the power off completely, just try and roll it in, and 20% power should do the trick. No spin needed for this one, we just want to see it in. So let's go through with it, see if we can get the power right. We've just underhit it, and now we've left the pot on. The reds come away just enough from the table to make it difficult, but Mark Selby, with his quality and ability, will probably put one in. We've left one onto the middle, we hadn't even noticed, and there he starts his break. Mark Selby's on one. He's going on for the pink, that'll go to the middle. He's missed it though, that's unusual. It seems he's not as a high a standard as he has been, particularly when we played in the quick matches. So that's a really good start for us. We've got a chance to build a break now. We're back at the table, we've got a simple red to the corner, but there's not a great deal we can do in terms of position. The black's covered to the corner by the red we missed a moment ago, so we're going to have to try and screw back and get onto a blue or pink, and see if we can get the pink back on its spot, which would really be quite useful for us. It's a good time to mention as we go along that if you are new to the channel, subscribe for regular content from this game. We'll have a career mode episode every single Friday, and we've got FM19 content every other day. But let's get a bit of screw back on the ball, see where we can get. I think we've not got enough power to get round the corner, so we might just have to settle for a short one and see if we can pot a long pink. So let's get on to it. 33% power's fine, and we've just got to try and fine tune this a bit to see if we can get it into the corner of the pocket. So let's go for the pot. We don't want to overhit this one, it could be disastrous, but we've just rolled it in, and that's about perfect. With the pace we're going, I don't know if we'll get the whole frame in, but we'll certainly see out this break. We just want to give you a bit of a shot of the gameplay. It's really good and immersive, something I didn't quite expect. It's certainly a big improvement on previous games I've played. It certainly feels like you're more a part of the action, and you really get to feel the experience. So let's go for a bit of screw back again. We've got to try and get down the table, or we could go the other route, although it wouldn't put us at the right side of the table to get to the free pocket in the corner. So we are going to go for a screw back, just see if we can get enough on it. We want to miss the middle pocket as well, that's particularly important. So let's see if we can get this one in. We really want to get on a red, but I don't rate our chances too highly, particularly the way we've been playing so far. Our most powerful shot of the day, how will it go? Will we get past the blue? That's just about perfect. What a wonderful shot, and I'm delighted with the start to this frame. A break of 7 now, only 5 away from my record, which was a little embarrassing, but we've got a pot on here and we should be able to get back up for the blue, though because it's a bit of a tighter angle, we've got the dreaded cone, and that's going to make things a little more tricky as we try to get onto a decent colour. So we're going to screw back a bit to try and get on the blue. We'll just see how it works out. If we can get the right side of it, that would be ideal, but we've got to try and make the pot first. So let's go for 40%, should be just about enough. It's a really good power guide, the part that you're probably not used to from previous games. We've gone a little bit too high there, but we've got the option of the brown or green if needed. So we'll see if we can get away with the blue to the middle, though I don't know if there'll be a path down the table and back up again. It doesn't look like there is, although it would have been nice if we could have screwed off the cushion. So I think we're going to have to go green and try and get down via that route and see if we can get onto another red and achieve my record break of the day so far. Since this game arrived earlier, my record break is 12 in a quick match, so it'd be lovely to beat that at the first time advancing in career mode. There's not really a good red to get on. We're going to try and screw back and see if we can get to that red at the bottom, though I think that's probably unlikely. It could leave us in a tricky position. The other red just next to the pink might go to the middle, so that's another option if we get it slightly wrong, but if we don't go far enough, we won't have either of those. So we want to try and get on one of them. Let's just go for it at 55%, as I've come off it there. I've made that mistake a couple of times. It's the one thing I've not quite got used to yet. We've overhit it, so we might go a bit too far. As long as we avoid the pocket, we'll be alright. Oh, we put it in, and that's the difference between 6% of power, which is so easy to get wrong as a novice. It's Mark Selby with the break, and it's probably a good time to wrap it up. We'll see his first couple of shots as we conclude in this episode. He starts with a long red, which I'm sure he'll put in. He's just rolled it gently and made sure it's nestled in the pocket. Not the best angle on the black, but I'm sure he'll go into the reds here, and we'll see just how he likes to build a break. It's an interesting shot. He's nudged them beautifully. That's perfectly realistic, and Mark Selby's doing well. So that will be all for this first episode of Career Mode. If you did enjoy it, please put a thumbs up on the video. It's something completely new to me. I love playing other sports games like this, but I've never made content aside from football games before, so let me know if you enjoyed it and what you'd like to see in the future. Are there any details and parts of the game you'd like to see? We can certainly show them if need be. But as I said, this career mode will continue every Friday. We'll have an episode out at 4:30 each week, so continue to see the Sean O'Sullivan career and see if we can replicate our namesake Ronnie as we move into the future in this career. We want to be world champion, but it's a long way off. I'm sure we'll lose to Selby as he builds his break now. But a massive thanks for watching, and your continued support as always. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. You'll have weekly content from this game and daily ones from FM19. But a massive thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.